Welcome to the Future of Quality podcast with Hidden Trail. This is a 3-part series on how AI is going to change digital product development and how quality is to be taken into account with that. And in this first part, we will look at the ideation phase, the requirements, everything that happens before the actual development starts. So let's begin. I'm your host, Jani, and with me here are Niko and Tuomas. So, Niko.
Hi, everyone. The reason why I'm here today talking with you two is because lately, as so many of you listeners probably, I've been very deeply interested in how AI will change everything I do. As a quality engineer, I've been playing very much with all sorts of aspects of AI, including like how to use it, help automation, but also like exploratory testing. And in the subject of this episode, also to help with crafting, for example, better user stories. So glad to be here talking about the topic with you guys.
Cool. My name is Tuomas, and I've been quarter of a century in this long journey of software development and digital services, and quality has always been close to my heart, mainly because it's all about people, because quality is really felt and experienced by people. And I did a detour in DevOps, like taking more technical sides, and I think it gave me some nice insight and aspects on, in the engine room, so to say. So recently I've been really digging into my capabilities of actually doing the things that I'm not very good at. So I stopped doing DevOps stuff because I wasn't very good at it, to be honest. So now I suddenly am. So yeah, with the new tools, I can actually develop stuff. I just did a bot that does my tax return. Omavero was so easy this year around for my toiminimi because I could actually just feed the receipts and my invoices into it, and pop out came the results, and it was actually nice. So having these new capabilities and linking them to product development and quality, oh wow, there's a lot to uncover here. So nice to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So when we think about the kind of where everything starts with the product development and digital products, so the ideation and requirements. So what's important from quality perspective? How do you see it, Niko?
Maybe I would actually start my speech on the topic by thinking about how things were very recently. We can even think like just half a year ago. What is it actually when you start doing something? You come up with an idea, right? That's always been ideally the first thing that you want to test, but that is the idea even good. But to be honest, especially when we are in these enterprise environments, it's often impossible, because the moment that things get to developer, to quality assurance, they are already as these user stories, right? So usually it's about designing user stories or definitions that are so good that they bring that they are able to describe to the developer the need in such a way that we actually deliver value, right? That's how it's been. And I think, in a sense, that does not change. It's still the same. But the tools that we now have, they bring completely different kind of angle to it.
Yeah. I also think about the collaboration, communication. Recent projects that I've had have been all about creating a bridge, not even a bridge, but really bringing product managers, product owners, and developers and quality people, release managers, these people actually in the same room for the whole day. So when we have done that, it doesn't sound that radical. Like, why haven't we been doing this all the time? Actually, we haven't. Actually, just as you said, when the user story hits the R&D team, when the developers get the user story, it's usually already crunched. There's a feature, there's an epic, there's a story backlog, and you take stories to your sprint based on your capability or velocity or some kind of obscure internal reason, rather than what would be the end-to-end value for the end user or customer.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing people together to talk about, I remember this lady, a release manager, saying, at last, after 7 years I've been working in this company, I'm actually working with the product and not just handling things, removing blockers, enabling teams. So collaboration, yeah, that's what I really like.
So more collaboration and less managing things.
Yeah, and that's the AI part is there for actually being preparing for the agentic development.
Yeah. So coming from what you said and what I said, so we have, I would say, two problems. We have, like, if we talk without any help from AI or agentic tools, we have two problems. The corruption of intent from beginning to finish, meaning that when people talk like the user story or whatever, it changes on the way, and then the out result might not be what people want. Mm-hmm. And then there is the problem of not enough synergy between all the stakeholders involved. The left hand might not know what the right hand is doing. I'm sure many people are familiar, especially like in big organizations. And it's not like it's done with intent, but big organization, it's such an organic structure that it's almost impossible to keep everything in check. And this is where the AI tools come in hand. Maybe I talk a little bit here about for example, the refinement of the story itself, and then you can help me with this synergy part a little bit, like you mentioned, group of people.
Yeah, this reminds me of the meme or cartoon about how customer ordered a swing and how sales sold it and how the production built it and what customer actually had. So and actually this kind of drift it's not a new problem, but it's like been existing. But yeah, let's hear more about that. And
Sorry.
That's actually a funny example, the meme, the comic, because I how I feel it is, if now a traditional team starts working, that often happens that the outcome is totally different from what we want. If we give it without any guidance to agentic development engine, to an AI, the same happens. That's why it's all about building AI tools that help human understand the need clearly from design perspective, finding out the hidden angles that the people, that they are not able to see without the proper tools, but at the same time, there needs to be bridge back from the people, from the human. After all, we are designing from people to people, back to the AI, so that AI doesn't get lost. So this, once we reach this synergy, everything is going to go smoothly. Maybe we can talk a little bit later on the actual implementation examples, but I'm not going to go there yet.
Yeah. So how do you see this feedback thing?
So before going to when the stuff is ready and all that, I would like to go back to the synergy part. Like, okay, so when we are doing intent, like when we are thinking about intent, intent is, of course, something that lives in some product manager's head or specialist's head who knows the customer and who knows the business. Because if the intent is not linked to the business, the customer value, then of course the company will not survive for too long. So how do we avoid the broken phone effect when the intent is coming from, let's say, Omavero? Like I just recently was using it and I like the portal a lot. So
taxes are always on everyone's mind.
Taxes are at least once a year in my mind. But I come there and there's two things that I really want. One is that it's clear what I need to fill in any area, and it's clear where to get information if I don't know what something is. And this is kind of like, that's like one area. So it's clear, the clarity. The other one is the safety of my input. I don't want to be filling it for 3 hours or 2 hours or something, and then suddenly 403 or some kind of a error message comes up and says, sorry, try again. No, that's not. So I want clarity, and I want consistent saving of my data that I've already input. And these are super clear intent. Okay, so how does that translate to the team that is actually creating the tool? It should be so that the product person is in very close contact with the person who develops, and those people are very close contact with the person who makes sure that we are on time and we are doing it with good quality and we are hitting the expectations and plans of our whatever it's iteration, release, or whatever. So those three people need to be in very close contact. And in enterprise, as you said, when you have some ticketing system or whatever, then usually the product person creates a ticket. And that ticket is then interpreted by someone in the team. There was some Italian guy or someone who said that it's not the product person or specialist's intent or specialist's understanding that gets developed. It's actually the way that the developer understood it that gets developed it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thinking of the core issue in requirements, and the drift comes from the intent not being clear throughout the whole. And this is why you said, Niko, and I want to hear more about your practical world in preserving that intent with new tools.
Okay. So how I feel or like how I've been able to improve mainly like this I've been focusing on this on a very traditional level. Like we have this single entity that describes the intent. We have the feature ticket, user story. So with agentic tools, you can improve the quality of that immensely by helping the human in control, write it in such a way that whoever is implemented it can easily have the same understanding. The one implementing the ticket in the future can be human. It can be an agent. It doesn't matter as long as the ticket is clear enough. How this happens is that we teach the agents all sorts of different heuristics on how to ask the right sort of questions from the one doing the ticket so that it gets all the intent. But it doesn't end at probing the person. The agent has access, ideally, to all the other information it needs. It can see the source code of the product, the existing source code. It can have access to databases, to documentation. Like the one who is doing the ticket, the human, she has such a great domain understanding, or they have such a great domain understanding, but they have no hope of having all that technical knowledge at the same time when they are describing the ticket in their head, because we aren't built like that. We are great at pattern recognition, but not at remembering big things. But the AI, they can then see and really fast take the intent and make sure that it is in line with the data, because they are great at looking at small batches of data and making sure they fit with the intent.
So it's about dialogue between machines and humans. Like that's one key to like describing that intent in like with well enough quality, so the developer, when they see it, they interpret it like in the right manner. So is that the like like thing?
When talking about a practical solution or practical process for this, something that we've implemented in recent times is what we call the 3 voices. 3 voices sessions are basically, as I said before, product development, product, technical, and quality sitting in the same room, powered by these tools, Niko, that you were talking about, powered with the context of these tools. So really powerful context creation capabilities. You can, with the agents, you can create acceptance criteria. You can read acceptance criteria. You can read acceptance criteria as business language or technical language or both. You can see specifications. You can see user guides. You can see everything at the same time. And you can this way enrich the knowledge that you have in that room. But the 3 voices, because everybody should have a voice. There should never be a situation where somebody is just quiet there. So when we have everybody in the same room, we can very quickly just move. We can move on the same spot. And this actually creates a possibility that if you use agentic development or don't use agentic development, it doesn't matter. You can actually create almost a feature the same day or the next day. So, but I would never skip this dialogue of these 3 people, even if it lasted only for 2 hours, because I feel like that's the moment when, like this lady was saying, now I feel like I'm doing something for the product. So that also gives people the motivation and commitment to that company and the cause, the mission you have.
Is there any hope for the people and organizations with like stricter like boundaries between these 3 voices, for example? Is there anything we can do?
I think, Niko, you have experience from pretty rigid companies. So what is your thinking? Will everybody have to change?
Like what I actually feel that no one has to change. I think the tools that we are about to have enable everyone to be more true to what actually lights them up, because it's no longer about having specific technical capabilities or being bound by strict processes, but rather having something that is able to extract your strengths into an unified flow of work, meaning the AI tools, they handle what's previously been policed by perhaps humans.
So we have been developing this quality engineering suite within Hidden Trail and released it in the beginning of March. It has these different modules for different parts of the development life cycle, and one of these is the one helping with describing this intent. And there's like this heavy heavy component of dialogue between humans in different roles and how to like better describe it and how the agentic stuff inside it like help people describe better. For example, acceptance criteria, which is like notoriously difficult to do, and like almost never has been like done successfully. So can you tell us a bit more like what's inside that part of the quality engineering suite?
Yes. So the requirement for the quality engineering suite, well, an example just from yesterday I saw from a customer. We were discussing with a customer, and they showed us something that, hey, this is here I'm a single developer or person, and I need this context, and I need these capabilities and knowledge when I'm making decisions about whether something is ready to move forwards. I believe that we are tapping into that moment, and that I believe that we are tapping into that need specifically, where at the moment of decision, you get enriched information from the context that is relevant for just that moment, for just that decision.
So are you able to like attach the component to data sources, or how does it actually?
Yeah. So essentially, let's say I'm product management or one of the three voices groups, and I am writing the initial ticket, initial story of what we are going to be doing. At that moment, for our quality engineering suite, we have these automation bots, whether you have Jira or Azure DevOps or Trello or whatever, Excel or whatever thing you are using. You can basically call those, and it would be kind of easy to just say, here's a ticket content, create some acceptance criteria for it, and LLM would probably do it happily and with some pretty good content. But what we do is we actually make it call the home kind of home repository, or the home knowledge. So the code is there, the existing risks, for an example, the existing coverage tracker, open issues, open questions, all those. And what the LLM really does, the AI really does, is it checks for this particular content, what risks are relevant, what code is relevant, what user flows are relevant. It checks the content quite deeply and gives you specific content for that requirement, not just any requirement, because we know hallucination is a thing. So we try to minimize that by giving the agent really strict guidelines. If the content is crap, it will say red ball, no good.
So do I understand this correctly that like personally I went a bit to the deep end with the AI. Just recently my wife was complaining that I just walk around the house like a crazy person talking to myself. So I'm not like the best judge maybe at this point when it comes to these things. But did I understand it correctly that what our engineering suite enables us to do is that, because our clients, they are at such different phases. Someone is just starting with getting familiar maybe with the security concepts, or like how can we even, are we even able to use this?
Yeah.
And then someone who's like already like giving a user story, and the basically agents do everything. So the engineering suite gives tools so that kind of like everyone can implement to polish their quality in like different phases on this journey. Or...
Yeah. So the quality engineering suite gives you the possibility to start from really simple things like asking whether this requirement is good. Does it recognize the user? Is there a challenge? Do we see value? Do we see what is out of scope? So that's a very simple thing. Or it can go deeper into component dependencies, and you may have a knowledge layer, which is like all known risks, all known technical debt, all those things. And if you want to compare your requirement content to those things, that's also possible. But that, of course, requires that you have created a risk register.
Mm.
You have identified and cataloged your technical debt, or you have a really strong definition of your specs or acceptance criteria, and not many people have those. So where the story really starts, the story of quality engineering suite starts really from defining your product. As with any AI, you know that, Niko, like that's the really the point. But I know, Jani, you are working a lot with really the customer interface. What do you see as the kind of starting point or the immediate value of the quality engineering?
Well, as you said, it depends on the the starting level and on where different organizations are in a different level. They starting from the tool access and stuff like that. But I think the one of the key points are these, to be able to enrich these stories and features and like describing that intent in the product development, in the starting phases of new feature development. And that is like usually the most important, because those people have had like the least amount of tools and least amount of help from computerized things in the past. So those people are finally getting some quality tools
as opposed to developers.
Yeah, well, they have been having a lot of help, and
Yes.
like so much of this whole generative AI thing is focused on developer productivity, and
Agree.
boy, that is going up. So it's but I think that's topic for the second episode in the podcast. And but what I wanted to hear is like, what are the like business benefits and engineering benefits for having these kind of new tools in use that you can use either in these development sessions you talked about that three voices concept, or otherwise, like enriching this feature development.
So business business side, you can move so fast, and you can avoid the situation where a feature lands into user acceptance testing, and the customer comes to you and says, "Yeah, I clicked through it and it works really well," but it's not. It's the, as you said, the swing. It's the different kind of swing. You know, I ordered that kind of. You gave me this. So I know that this is all sounding a little bit like agile in the early noughties. Like, hey, you can do stuff so quickly. Yeah, but now you can really do it quickly. You can really do it in days, not just weeks. And from business benefit side, it's even better that you can swim the intent through, so that you avoid that situation with the customer that you have built the wrong thing, or even worse, you have built the right thing but you broke 5 other things at the same time. You have regression in you, because that is a huge brand damage. If you manage to break your own things by creating something new, then your reputation as a reliable software house is at stake.
Or alternatively, even if you break something, you are able to fix it faster.
That's true. So that takes us to the engineering part, I guess.
Yeah. So if I would consider value, and I know that we have listeners that are really keen on this ROI concept, return of invest, not really my favorite thing to talk about, but I know that some people appreciate it. So what are the most expensive kind of like unintentional causes of expenses when it comes to engineering? And this is maybe like my view on the thing. One is the that fixing things takes actually probably most of the time when it comes to developing a product. It's not actually writing the code for the first time, but it's fixing the mistakes that you made along the way. And as someone who's been a tester for a long time, I know we like to talk about defects as they were something that they are like mistakes in the code, but that's for the most of them, that's not the case. Most of them are actually misunderstood intent. We didn't think about that when we wrote the story. So we are able to save huge amount of engineering work by catching those when we write the stories. That's number one. And then the second one that's really expensive is technical debt. And up to this point, we have taken it for granted. It has always been a choice between how fast can we get these features out versus how much can we take technical debt. That technical debt is just moving kind of the cost to the future. But now we can more easily, it's not still perfect, but it's more easy to build things so that we already have the future in mind, because the AI is able to interpret the technical capabilities of future needs in advance to the one describing the story. So we avoid we avoid having to fix defects caused by intent, at least some of them, maybe even most of them. Yeah. And then we can avoid this technical debt. And I feel that that's gonna save someone a lot of dough.
Yeah, very good insights. And I'd like to end all of this episode by probing into the future, as we in Hidden Trail we like to consider us like visionaries and seers of the future. So I ask both of you, like, how do you see this part of the whole AI and quality thing in like 6 months, and after that, what's coming?
So, future of requirement engineering, like I would guess, I would still keep talking about requirement engineering. I know it's a monster word couple, but it's really what it is. It's engineering. And I wouldn't just call it like story has always ringed a little bit light in my mind. There's so many things that we have to package to the requirement. So I call it engineering. So requirement engineering in the future will be mostly about understanding the product, understanding the situation where we are in the life cycle of the product, and in the life cycle and capabilities of the humans that are using and our customers. So there's three things, where are we with the product in terms of what our capabilities are? Where are we with the company in terms of our business strategy, and how are we competing with our customers? Competing with our competitors, and then what is the kind of value that we can deliver. My thinking is that the actual work of requirement engineering will be one of the key aspects of digital product development, and skills around this area will not just have to do with the technical capabilities. How do you code this? How do you make the data persist? How do you do it securely and stuff? But also about service design. So you have to know the user personas. You have to know what makes not just your customer tick, but also your engineers tick, development experience, stuff like that. So I think requirement engineer will package all of those things together, and those people who can really think about this holistically will be the winners in this transformation of the job.
Yeah. What about you, Niko?
I feel that sometime in the near future, someone who has been defining user stories for all their life will log into their workstation, and instead of having to start thinking, what do I need to do next? They already have a bunch of proposals drafted by the AI, ready for them to make sure that do these actually align with our strategy. Because the agents, they know your strategy, they know where you're heading, they know who is using your system, they know how they are using your system, they are reading the logs, they have all the information when a defect happens. So when they see it, they propose, do we need to fix this? Maybe even fix it before proposal if it's not risky. So I feel like it's going to be less one-sided and more an interaction with a colleague that is basically your system. I hope that doesn't scare someone.
Yeah, and that's basically automated information handling, like ATK.
Yeah,
like that sounds like it to me. So
yeah. And just one thing to add, you said something about risk. I would like to add about risk. The ATK thing, Finnish term for automated information handling. You had to have ATK driver's license back in the day. So I think also ATK ajokortti, and I think that also rings true with these new tools. So I believe that the biggest risk that we have in this area is that we start to blindly accept that fact, that the bot knows, there's Claude code and knows like, this is what you need, this is what you need, this is what you need. And I fear that innovation will stifle and that we will start implementing something not so exciting because we let everything be decided by AI.
Yeah. Excellent insights. Thank you both. And
Thank you.
I think that's it. That concludes our first episode of the Future Quality with Hidden Trail podcast, and we will return in the next one. Stay tuned.
Ooh.